Let's pretend you're on a listing appointment and the client wants to buy a new property and sell the house they have. But they're really afraid to list their home for sale because they're afraid theirs will sell too quickly and they'll have no place to go. So what do you do with that? So let me share some techniques that I think will really help move the process along and get the commitment you're looking for. The first go-to for me is going to be losing from both ends. So let me paint this picture to create sort of the situation so I can play this technique out for you. Let's pretend you're on a listing appointment right now and the people own a townhouse. And the townhouse is, say, $500,000. And they want to buy a detached property, and let's say the price range on that is about $800,000. The real problem here is that they're afraid to put theirs on the market because if it sells too quickly, they'll have no place to go. So what do we do in a case like that? I'd say, well, let's pretend, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we go out on the weekend to look at properties and we see that detached property you absolutely love. I mean, it's the right price, it's $800,000, it's got everything you want, it's in the right location. What are you going to want to do? You're going to want to make an offer, but herein lies the problem. You can't buy the next house until you sell the one you got. And in fact, that we haven't even got it on the market and we haven't got an offer on it really complicates the negotiations. So if you make an offer on the property you want, it's going to be conditional on finance, probably conditional on a home inspection, but now it needs to be conditional on the sale of your property. Even if we add a kick-out clause in there, the seller is still going to make you pay a premium. So let's say it was $800 they were asking. Most likely you're going to end up paying $820, maybe $825. Most people would like to buy that property at $790 or $795. The fact is we've had to pay a premium to get them to accept the conditional on sale of purchaser's property. So let's say it just costs us $20,000 or $25,000 more to buy the house you want. But that's not the worst part of this whole story. Now we have to sell the $500,000 townhouse and we have to sell it quickly so we don't lose the house that you guys are absolutely in love with. That means 5 turns into 480. Costs us $20,000 to sell it quickly and we had to pay an extra $20,000 or $25,000 premium to get them to accept the conditional on the sale of purchaser's property. Not that the client is doing it wrong, but they're going about it in reverse. What ends up happening, they end up spending maybe $40,000, $45,000 more than they should to facilitate this whole transaction. What I'm going to suggest they do is put their townhouse on the market now at 5, even though they haven't seen something yet that they're looking for. And we want to hold firm to make sure we get our 500. I mean, there's no real pressure on us to make a move at this point. So now we've got a $500,000 firm offer on our property while we're looking. And let's just say we see the 8. But the real cool part here is you're going to be able to negotiate based on a binding agreement on your property, the equity that we're going to be able to release. And we'll have our commitment letter from our financier. So that means we've got all of our ducks in a row. And we're going to be able to get a great price on what you buy and a great price on what you sell. Now, to make this happen and to give you some more confidence, what I'd like to see us do is put a longer closing than normal on your property. Let's say, even 30, 60, maybe 90 days longer than normal. And on top of that, we would like you to reserve the right to be able to rent the property back for another 60 or 90 days after closing. That'll give you more than enough time when we get an offer on your property that you're comfortable with, that you're happy with, that meets all of what your expectations are, to go out into the marketplace and negotiate basically from a firm perspective on the property you want to buy. We're going to save on the purchase and we're going to save on the sale, and ultimately you're going to get the best result by following my strategy. Now, I think it's normal for people to be skeptical. So it's important, again, to point out your education, that this isn't that you know how to do all of this, and you want to point out your experience, that this isn't the first time you've done this and other people have worked successfully through it. Now, it's normal for people to really question, have they? That's where your testimonials and client reviews come in. That's why you want to collect third-party video testimonials every time you list a house and every time you sell a house, so that people who are questioning, am I doing the right thing? Does this guy really know what he's talking about? Does he really have the experience? A third-party endorsement from somebody else who's been through this experience will add a lot of weight to their decision and help you convince them to move forward. Now, the last thing, or one of the last things I'd like to do, is confirm with people that I'm not here to sell their house, and this isn't a transaction. This is about relationships. And yes, I'm going to get their house sold, and yes, we're going to get them a great purchase. But I always like to turn my clients into friends, because my successful relationships turn into all kinds of referral work. See, it's really about me doing a great job one client at a time, because each client recommends me to neighbors, friends, relatives, and my business expands because of it. Now, one of the other concerns they're going to have is, will the house I want even exist? Especially if they're looking right now and they can't see it on the computer. So what I would say to them is, let's take a look at this price range for the last 12 months, and let's see how many homes that would have met your criteria came on the market and how many have actually sold. So even if it doesn't exist today, I want you to know historically that the property you're looking for is probably going to come on the market next week or the week after. We just need to be in the right spot to be able to capitalize on the opportunities.